The story opens with a somber young man confessing he's been thrown out by his mother. A girl listens, exhaling cigarette smoke as he admits to being unemployed at 30. He's visibly distraught, lost, and directionless. Breaking the heavy silence, his friend suddenly calls him Kishake and proposes a bizarre solution. They should get married. Kisha's eyes widen in stunned disbelief. His friend remains composed, quickly clarifying it's a temporary arrangement. Marry, then divorce shortly after. Baffled, Kisha demands an explanation. She calmly outlines her reasoning. She's from a wealthy, traditional family, and the pressure to marry at 30 is immense. This marriage would placate her parents, and the subsequent divorce would be her act of defiance. Kisha is skeptical, questioning why she'd choose him of all people. He argues it's a terrible plan, insisting that marriage should be for soulmates, a concept he's clung to so tightly he's never had a serious relationship. Rue scoffs, dismissing his idealism as sentimental nonsense. She doesn't care about love, she just needs the marital status. To her, it's a perfect, mutually beneficial deal. After a moment of contemplation, Kishik begins to see a twisted logic in it. Rue sweetens the offer by proposing he live with her while he hunts for a job, suggesting a strict 100-day marital term. Still processing, Kishik cracks a weak joke to diffuse the tension. He thinks it over seriously, and when Rue asks again, he agrees. It's revealed they've been friends since high school, a platonic relationship that has somehow led to this. After a rushed ceremony, Kishik suggests a few wedding photos, but Rue is impatient to finish. As he flips through the pictures in a daze, she hands him the marriage application to formalize their union and shared surname. In the same breath, she casually gives him divorce papers to fill out, wanting all the paperwork ready in advance. Overwhelmed, Kishik asks if he can really stay with her, and Rue assures him not to worry. Later, Rue invites him to dinner, an offer that throws him. He's been so consumed by the absurdity of planning a divorce he forgot they're technically newlyweds. He grows anxious watching her prepare the meal, only to be served a plate of supplements. He protests that pills aren't dinner, but Rue eats them unbothered. When he offers to buy real food, she dismisses him, finishes her meal, and retires to bed, instructing him to sleep on the sofa. The next morning, Rue wakes him gently with sunlight streaming in. Breakfast is again supplements, which he eats without complaint. As she leaves for the day, he offers to help with chores, but she declines, explaining their round cleaning robot, Tamago, handles everything. He smiles and wishes her a good day. When she returns, he greets her at the door. She gives him money for laundry and reminds him to turn on the bathroom vent. These small, domestic interactions leave Kishik surprised. It feels unnervingly real. Watching Tamago clean, he feels like a burden. His eyes fall on the untouched marriage application, and he wonders if Rue is having second thoughts. The following morning, Kishik wakes early to make a bento for a job interview. He decides to wake Rue and cautiously enters her room when she doesn't respond. He finds her upside down on the bed, unmoving. In a panic, he rushes over and shakes her awake. She's burning with fever. He insists she rest and let him take care of her. She protests about an empty stomach, but he reassures her he's made breakfast. Though confused by his concern, she relents. He tends to her. Finding her temperature is 38.9 degrees Celsius. He promises to handle everything and offers to modify his bento to her taste. After she agrees with a smile, he leaves to let her rest. Rue stares after him, bewildered by how she fell ill despite her dedicated work ethic. The strange new reality of sharing her space sinks in. Later, he returns with homemade tomato porridge, her favorite. Starving, she eats and is amazed by how good it is. He modestly admits he's skilled at housework and offers to help more, saying it would give him purpose. After a silence, Rue admits his presence is comforting and agrees to let him help, making him blush. He then reveals he also made miso soup, further astonishing her. He tells her to rest more, and as she drifts off, she praises the porridge again. While she sleeps, he does the chores, losing track of time until he has to rush to his interview. Rue watches him leave with a soft smile. The next morning, she's recovered. Over breakfast, they share a quiet, pleasant conversation. After her shower, she sincerely thanks him for his care. As she reaches for a cigarette, Kishik swiftly takes the match, reminding her she's just been sick. He then brings up the marriage application, asking why it's still unsigned. Rue explains she held off to give him an escape route. She looks at him and asks if he truly wants to live with her. Kishik turns the question back on her, saying he's the one benefiting most. Rue smiles, admitting cohabitation has been easier than expected. When she asks about his interview, he confesses he was late and it went poorly. She tries to lighten the mood, but he worries he's becoming a burden. Watching her eat lifts his spirits, and he resolves to be more useful than Tamago. Rue quickly defends the robot, calling it helpful and adorably round. With renewed optimism, they agree to submit the application. Kishik feels the next 100 days will be entirely new territory for their friendship, while Rue is focused on finishing her meal. They go to submit the forms, both aware of the expiration date on their marriage, yet for now they are a couple, however surreal it feels. The next day at work, Rue opens her lunchbox to find another beautifully crafted meal from Kishik. Her kohai, Hayakawa Kurumi, congratulates her on a professional success and then teases her, her eyes landing on the elaborate lunch. Rue calmly explains her husband made it, stunning Kurumi, who points out Rue isn't wearing a wedding ring. Rue falls silent, looking at her bare finger. That evening, Rue brings up the need for rings to maintain their facade. Kishik protests, saying he can't afford them and that they should be meaningful, engraved with their names. Rue argues it's a waste for a short-term arrangement, and he eventually agrees to check a general store. There, Rue picks the first ring she tries, but Kishik suggests finding something nicer. He looks for cuter designs, but she critiques his taste and insists on simplicity, noting it will suit him too. Touched by her commitment to the act, he offers to pay. As Rue walks off to the cosmetics aisle, he watches a happy couple pick out rings and wistfully admits to himself he'd like to give his partner a beautiful ring, but resigns himself to Rue's practicality. He finds her browsing supplements and notices him nervously tugging his clothes, a habit he has when troubled. She calls him out, asking what's wrong, tired of him suppressing his feelings. She tells him to share everything with her as his wife. He stays silent for a moment, then asks her to follow him. On a bridge, he confesses his dream of a romantic proposal. He explains that even if he can't give her a decent ring, the memory should be genuine. Rue agrees and asks how to help. He sets the scene under a starry sky, gets down on one knee, and formally proposes. Rue, with her usual composure, gives a flat yes, reminding him they're already married. They exchange rings. Kishik cherishes the moment, while Rue does her part practically to ring fitting snugly. Seeing his happiness, she asks why he's so invested. He shares stories from his grandmother about her warm marriage. Rue, sensing sadness, asks about his grandmother's health. He says he's prepared and shares he's found a part-time job. Rue is suddenly embarrassed she didn't take the moment more seriously. Kishik comforts her, thanking her for making his wish come true. Curious, Rue asks what else couples do. He mentions holding hands, and before he can finish, she agrees to try. Flustered, he says it's not necessary, but she insists it's her turn to make him happy. Walking hand in hand, Kishik blushes, feeling a new, sincere warmth. The next day at lunch, Kurumi spots Rue's ring and is emotionally overwhelmed, vowing to discover the mystery husband. She bombards Rue with questions, but Rue's mother calls, leaving Rue visibly unsettled. At home, she urgently informs Kishik that her parents are visiting. It's time to start their act.